about Lolita, okay? So
I don't know if you guys are ready. I know it's early.
Transition. Lolita was a book first, if you didn't know, and then it was a movie, and then it was a musical. So Lolita, My Love was a musical. The story, conceived by Vladimir Nabokov, concerns middle-aged professor named Humbert who falls in love with a 12-year-old girl, Lolita. He becomes her stepfather so that he can get closer to her, as pedophiles would like to do, and he eventually seduces her.
There you go. After My Fair Lady and Camelot, Alan J. Lerner was a master of writing unconventional leading men. But, you know, this was hard. So, when granting his blessing to the musical, Nabokov said that if anyone could make a musical of Lolita, Lerner could.
Now, the writers didn't
Wait, this is amazing. This is just an ad from the New York Times at the time for this new magazine, Playdate, and you could learn about all the latest shows like No No Nanette and Follies and Lolita. You could learn about all those, you know, big shows.
4 issues for $3.
And Oh Calcutta is clearly moving to Broadway. It's also exciting.
Very sexy. Anyway, back to Lolita. The writers did not compromise on the extremes of the story. The show opened with Humbert shooting a man who had stolen Lolita. He then said, "How many of you have ever committed a murder? Although the mature woman stimulates my glands, it's the passing tot of 12 or 13 who turns me into hell furnace of desire."
That's Kevin's best pedophile impression.
Thank you.
So you guys know.
Laurie Beachman on next week.
Audiences were disgusted by the story. Yes, of course. The show limped through its pre-Broadway run in Philadelphia, fired the director, choreographer, and original Lolita, and moved on to Boston. It was set to open at the Hellinger in 1971, but the Broadway opening was sadly canceled.
So, more than anything, audiences were unable to watch a 12-year-old girl being seduced by a lecherous older man. It was one thing to read about it, and even the movie provided a veil of disconnect, but on stage, it seemed somewhat more distasteful. Lolita was actually played by Denise Nickerson. The same year, she appeared as Violet Beauregard in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Violet, you're turning Violet played Lolita. That's weird.
At first we thought she was Veruca, which would have been really
I was
concerning,
like, I can believe
then she would have had the line, "Daddy, I want it now," and I would have been really horrified. I was
Golden Goose. Humbert. Anyway, I was really surprised that it was definitely her. I wonder what Mike TV went on to do.
So critics had a lot of respect for the efforts of the performers and writers in translating this clearly very challenging story to the stage. Ken Mandelbaum went as far as to call it both a complete mistake and a superb adaptation, with a marvelous score and perfect leads. So, you know. John Neville was an intense Humbert, and as Lolita's mother, Dorothy Loudon stole the show. One problem was that audiences missed her terribly after her character was killed off at the end of the first act, which I like to call Norbert Leo Butt's Thou Shalt Not problems.
Or Jude Law and the Talented Mr. Ripley.
I don't know what that is, Kevin.
Someone will adapt it into a musical and you'll learn about it one day.
I look forward to that.
Okay, so one song, In the Broken Promised Land of 15, was later recorded by Robert Goulet. Sadly, the show as a whole never received an official cast recording. Meg Bussert was only 21 years old in 1971 when she appeared in Lolita, My Love. Here to speak about and sing from Lolita, My Love, Miss Meg Bussert.
When they give dates.
I'm sorry.
Miss, can I play this?
Yeah.
Fix it, Kevin, please. Kevin was in my actors class a couple years ago. Thank you. That's good, that's good. Yeah, I was in New York a couple of weeks from Parkridge, Illinois, and got this thing called Backstage, and there was an open call for singers for an Alan J. Lerner show, so let's go. I grabbed my one soprano song, which was How Were Things in Guacamora, 1/4 up, because I wanted to show soprano notes, and my best Ella Loga stolen imitation package. And there were something like in the open call 400 or 500 women that showed up for that, and they winnowed us down and put us with the equity ladies. 90 of us came in for the callback, and then another callback, 15 of us, and I'm not sure how many women actually were cast, but all told there were 19 singers and 14 dancers. And the dancers didn't sing very much, and the singers didn't dance very much. So that was kind of that. I got the show. I was absolutely thrilled. I called my father, "Dad, I'm in a Broadway show. I got my equity card. This is great." He says, "Honey, great. What's the story?" So quiet pause, and he goes, "What role are you playing?" I'm in the car stand, 21 and too old to play 12. So we went out of town, first of all, in Philadelphia. And I learned all about the Variety Club in Philadelphia, because that's where we went every night after rehearsals of the show and talk about what it was we were in, because we weren't sure. And we were there for a while, and we went back to New York and re-rehearsed. And of course, they decided that what was really wrong with the show was the choreographer, the director, and the lead. So they changed all of those people. And we went and re-rehearsed, and we went back to Boston, and we closed, and with a new choreographer in the middle of that. So it was very exciting. The audience response was something like, in the producers, you know, when Springtime for Hitler comes out, and the camera pans to the audience, and they're like, that was sort of what we went through. But I learned a lot. It was great fun. I got to meet someone who I eventually did a lot of revivals for later, Alan J. Lerner, and he was remarkably wonderful. I'm going to give you two songs from the show, the title song. As you probably know, Alan J. Lerner was a real Anglophile. He loved words, and he loved playing with words. Humbert Humbert, who is, he sings a song at the end in which he's lost Lolita. She's gone for a couple of years, actually. He's trying to find her, and it's a lovely song if you don't think about the context. And it's a lot of nicknames, Lola, Lolita, they're all kind of in there. And the second song, In the Broken Promised Land, Humbert Humbert was an English professor and was kind of hung up on 19th century literature. Those of us who like literature can really hang up in that century. So he loved Edgar Allan Poe. And apparently the reason he became what he became, Humbert Humbert, was because he had a very sad situation when he was about 15. And so the whole thing is resonating from Annabelle Lee. Do you guys remember Annabelle Lee? Right here, it's very exciting. It was many, many a years ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in that kingdom by the sea. Of course she dies. And so that's, and you will hear the reference and the resonance in the lyric to that song. So we're going to sing. in the broken promised land of 15. Not far were we from heaven's door when steps were heard beyond the shore. We turned, we